Hi, this is Chris from the Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from Political Voices Network.
Did Kevin McCarthy leave just because to be vindictive because he hates his party?
Look, I knew Kevin was going to leave the moment he got recalled. There's no political advantage for him to stay inside this party. He is as much an anathema inside the party as Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger were.
Yeah.
And the only thing that was resonant with the Republicans in the House was that he was useful to them up to a point.
Yeah.
And
my favorite.
When he went down to Mar-a-Lago in January of 21, and he bent over to Trump and showed his fealty. We knew that was a one-way ride.
You're working very
Donald
blue
Trump
this morning, and I like it.
What was that?
You're working very blue this morning, and I like it.
Well, I'm with you.
I know.
Bring out my blue.
My favorite is that in a phone call right after he was ousted, Trump said he didn't do enough to stop himself from being, ejected, and he said "you" to Trump.
Yes.
But they still talk in text. I just love these. You hang up first. Like I don't. It's so dysfunctional and just emblematic of the Republican Party right now.
Let me ask you a question, Stephanie. How did we get away from it? How do we break that cycle? I mean, you've got polls right now that show 48% of Americans prefer Donald Trump over Joe Biden.
That's depressing.
Where do you think this changes? I mean, people think Donald Trump is magically not going to get elected president, or Joe Biden will magically not become president or become president. No, voters have to just make that decision. And what they're telling us is, I prefer the insurrectionists because I'm upset that, gas prices aren't as low as they were before COVID. Yeah. Or inflation is higher than it was before COVID. Well, yeah, we spent a lot of money to save your COVID ass from getting COVID.
Yeah, yeah. And gas was a penny because no one was going anywhere, and we were wiping our ass with coffee filters because Donald Trump.
But here's the kicker. When inflation was damn near 10%, and gas prices were $7, $8, $9 a gallon, people didn't stop going on vacations.
Yeah.
They packed up their kids last summer and they got in their cars and they wouldn't enjoy themselves. So I don't know what they're complaining about.
I mean,
nothing would have changed. And here's the other thing. Two seminal points in time for people to understand exactly why nothing was ever going to change. Point one, when asked, if Donald Trump is a convicted felon standing in an orange jumpsuit, would you support and endorse him for president of the United States? 6 out of 8 of those mofos on the stage said yes, they would.
Yeah,
including 3 of the 4 that were on the stage on the other night. The second point is when you have an opportunity to run against the guy, right? When given the chance to with clarity, decry his illiberal behavior, his attempted insurrection, and not to mention the other issues that reigned throughout his term as president. Again, Chris Christie put it best. None of the other people are willing even to say that.
Yeah. Well,
so where do you think this is going to go if no one wants to run against the guy that they claim they want to replace?
Yeah, no, exactly. It's just, I think it's a story of cowardice, the Republican Party today, mostly. Rick Stengel said, it figures you despite being a dictator when you were such an inept failure as a Democratic chief executive. No wall, fewer jobs than when you started, mishandling a pandemic, outfoxed by China and North Korea. I mean, I don't, for the life of me, Michael, get what people would be voting. Do they really just hate us that much? It's just really about owning the libs? Because I think it was Tom Nichols tweeted, we're in a world now where apparently reality doesn't matter. Doesn't the new jobs numbers today that were so good and all none of it seems to, reality doesn't seem to matter. His horrible record in office.
People are seeing more pay in their checks. People are going back to work. There are shovel-ready projects that are well underway in jurisdiction after jurisdiction around the country, and yet everyone is sitting there in this malaise like it's god awful. What was it? 56% of Americans think the economy sucks.
Right.
70-some% think the country's going in the wrong direction. And I'm like, so let me get this straight. You're driving down a road in which there's a cliff at the end. And the person that's trying to steer the car off of that path and move it in a different direction, you think that's the wrong direction.
Right.
That you just want to continue to go over the cliff. I don't know how it breaks. I think we are a lot deeper into it than we may realize. And my fear is that come next November, yes, we are a year out, and all of that. And I don't, for that reason, rely too exclusively on national polling right now, because it is not necessarily an indicator of what voters are going to do. Because if it were, there would have been this massive red wave in 2022.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
there wasn't. There would have been, Ohio would not have flipped on abortion as it did. I think that we need to sort of temper that. But we also need to be, I think, aware of the fact that there are more and more Americans out there that are buying into this, to your point, than not. And that, to me, is the problem.
Michael,
is that the narrative has gotten so comfortable, such a one-off now. That's what Tom Nichols was basically saying.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Michael,
matter.
If, as Chris Christie and many other legal experts say, Trump is convicted in the spring, that's not going to change anything? I mean, polling seems to show that...
he becomes a martyr. He becomes a martyr.
But polling seems to show it would change.
All the more reason for him to take control of the Justice Department and rout out the deep state.
Terrifying. Can I just ask... One of the things when I listen to him talk now, he's just such a despicable racist. I guess that would be my main question to you is how do you feel comfortable in not just a party with that's their front runner, but
I don't feel comfortable with it. That's why I speak out against it.
Yeah.
Look, the easiest thing, Stephanie, is, and I've said this before to you, you and I've had this conversation over a nice drink from time to time, as well as officially in places like this.
Yes.
And the truth remains the same. The easiest thing to do is leave, because that's what they want me to do. That's what they want Liz to do. That's what they want a lot of us to do. It is easier to leave and not and just wipe your feet of it than to stay inside and to hold the mirror up to everyone in the room to show them just how bad they are. And to be that voice in the space that says they are that bad, but also
blah blah blah.
Try to recall
blah blah blah, Michael. I'm going to say 2 to 3 more interviews. I will have you fully in the light.
Yeah, right. 2 to 3. No, but that's my orientation.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I put it this way many years ago, that I played a role in building this house, just very much like your father did in his time. And I've been, I am 45, 46 years into this game. And then this vermin comes in.
Yeah.
Do I let it overrun the house? Do I just put the house up for sale?
No, you come to the better house next door, the better house with all the light. All right.
But if I look at the house next door, they got a hole in the floor. So I don't.
No, we don't. We'll fix the hole. All right. I love you, Michael Steele. We went super long because I don't get to talk to you enough. So come back soon. All right.
I will. Right. And I'm sorry for my blue moment, so I apologize.
No, you're not. Look, he's even wearing blue to try to lull me into a false sense of security. There it is, my first drink of the day, Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic. Many of you know my story. I stopped drinking wine for 3 years during COVID, during the lockdown as part of a health reset. Now I drink wine in moderation, but this is an amazing new product. I've always believed in probiotics. And Z-Biotics, check this out. You drink just one of these. It's the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. I am using this and I feel great in the morning. I don't have to worry if I have an extra glass of wine. I still feel great in the morning. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. I've always had acid reflux problems. It is this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Z-Biotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. All I know is it works. It is Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic. Go to zbiotics.com/politicalvoices or scan the QR code on the screen right now.